Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to this week's Investment Trends, where we discuss the latest news in the stock market and the economy. So far, the biggest news in the market this week came on Thursday morning when the Consumer Price Index report came out lower than expected. So it was down 0.1%, which is lower than expected. This sent a confusing message to the stock market. So on Thursday, we saw the stocks that had been performing the best over the past 18 months, large cap tech companies, were actually down on the day. So the NASDAQ had its worst day since the month of April, and we saw two large companies. So Nvidia was down as much as 5.6% on Thursday, and Meta was also down 4.1%. So this sent a message to the stock market that maybe some people were locking in some gains in these large tech companies. On the flip side, we saw the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up on the day on Thursday, and we saw the Russel 2000, which measures small cap companies, was up almost 3.5% on the day Thursday. So although we saw some good news on the inflation front, that led to a little bit of a pullback in large cap tech companies. This news was welcomed by investors, though, because now there is a lot of anticipation that the Federal Reserve could actually start to cut interest rates as early as their September meeting. So there's a meeting coming up in July for the Federal Reserve. Many people are anticipating no changes to interest rates there. However, they're anticipating the possibility of this happening, a 25 basis point decrease possibly happening in their meeting in September and maybe again in their meeting in December. And the two factors that go into this are not only the inflation rate coming down, we are also seeing the unemployment rate starting to increase. So Fed Chair Jerome Powell said that that is something that he is looking at. He's looking at that unemployment rate to see if the economy is slowing, because that is another factor that could determine them starting to cut interest rates. So another news in the stock market, Friday morning, we saw some earnings reports from a couple of the large banks. Wells Fargo was down pretty significantly in trading on Friday. JP Morgan Chase reported another great quarter. Their revenue came in over $50 billion, which was over expectations. And also their earnings per share came up ahead of estimates. However, for whatever reason, the stock was trading down on Friday. So what are some trends that we could see if we do see some interest rates start to decrease? One of them, we saw some great activity from regional banks. So think Fifth Third Bank. A lot of these stocks started to rally on the news of potential interest rate cuts. Also leading, if that were to change as well, you could look at some small cap companies to invest in or just buy the small cap index, because if interest rates do come down, those companies are affected more so than the large cap companies are by interest rate movements. So if we see an interest rate decrease, real estate could be an interesting area to look at, as well as small caps. Leave a comment below if there's anything else that you're seeing or investing in for this week.